You're listening to Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick in association with Wexford Insurances. Challenge us at Wexford Insurances 0818 31 30 30.
Welcome back to the show. I'm now joined in studio by the Tourism Development Officer at Wexford County Council, Carolyne Godkin. Carolyne, this is a newly created role. How long have you been with the County Council?
I joined the County Council in Wexford in 2006 from South Dublin County Council. I've worked for a long number of years in the community sector in Wexford under the Directorate of the Community and Enterprise section within the Council. RAPID, many people will be familiar with that programme. And then more recently I've been appointed as Tourism Development Officer within the newly created Economic section in the County Council. So it's been a split between community and enterprise, and they're now two separate functions. So Tony Larkin is Director of Services for the Economic unit.
So what's the objective of your particular role?
I suppose there's a couple of different elements to it that are most relevant for people. Visit Wexford, which is the collaborative mix of kind of public and private sector working on the tourism industry in Wexford. I support that role. I provide executive, I suppose, support to it really. Then I would look at product development, working across the council in terms of the infrastructure and the fabric of the county. And then I suppose thirdly it's around policies and procedures and grants and that type of thing. So a lot of the paperwork and the administration part of it, that would be the other kind of main piece of work. Tourism
is a vital element of our local economy here in County Wexford, and I know that the local authority comes in for lots of stick from the business community in relation to commercial rates, but there is an awful lot the local authority is doing to promote the county with a view to getting tourists into the county itself, and as a byproduct of that, of course, they're spending money with local businesses.
Absolutely, and I suppose there's two main pieces of work within tourism that the council would be particularly focused on. That would be the attractions, so the likes of the Heritage Park, the Central 98 Centre, those type of facilities, the Hook Down in New Ross. They will provide quite a lot of money into those facilities, and I was just looking at the figures. There's something like €6.3 million worth of capital investment has gone in the past 36 months into those different facilities. Now that's not all County Council money, it's grant money from Fáilte Ireland, Office of Public Works, Wexford Local Development, but the County Council would be essential in that offering. Talk
me through some of the statistics in relation to tourist numbers, let's say, for the last couple of years.
Okay, I'm not an expert now on the tourism numbers. I've had a quick look, I suppose, really at last year and then again kind of getting a handle on this year's figures. We brought in around 183,000 overseas visitors last year into County Wexford. And I suppose what's interesting when you take the southeast is we probably come third in terms of Waterford, Kilkenny and Wexford, but in terms of revenue generated we actually top the southeast. So that's just kind of an interesting anomaly. I suppose our domestic market is very important. It brings in between 50 and 60%. So domestic is really vital, but the overseas visitor will spend more. So it's great to get someone who's going to stay here for a week, but we can't ignore the 2 and 3 night breaks or the day visitor that will come into the county. Figures overall, we saw recently there was a report that we've seen a good bump in figures for the first quarter of 2013. I don't think that's been felt everywhere. Kind of anecdotally in the county, some people would have seen a little bit of an increase or at least holding steady. Others wouldn't have seen that increase. So I suppose we can't just sit back. We need to kind of keep active and keep getting the brand out there and keep marketing in every way that we can.
Tourist numbers are down from the UK. Why is that?
I think there's a couple of different reasons. It's not specifically something that we're doing. The recession globally, the perception, I suppose, that the cost of holidaying in Ireland is expensive, which I think is being tackled and is changing. But also on the UK side, there's been a huge marketing promotion behind the staycation, and there's a very feel-good factor in terms of the Jubilee, the London Olympics. So people are holidaying at home in the UK more, and that's having an adverse effect on us, unfortunately. So that's something that we need to look at.
Tell me, have you any idea in terms of bed nights in Wexford, how do they perform?
From what my colleagues tell me in the hotel industry, we would have particular times of the year that we're full, so that's not a problem. But there would be shoulder seasons where we do need to do more to try and keep the beds full. So I suppose after Christmas there would be a big slump. The school midterms and school holidays tend to be okay, or we tend to perform better there. But those shoulder months are the ones that where we're struggling. So the Opera Festival would have a great impact, predominantly on Wexford town. So what we need to do, I suppose, is provide more of those types of festivals and events, and you'll see, I suppose, from last weekend, the fantastic John F. Kennedy Homecoming and the John Barry Festival are the types of events that we want to see more of, to try and bring numbers in to the county.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned earlier Visit Wexford. For those that wouldn't be familiar, what is it and what do they do?
It's very important to say it's a voluntary collaborative mix of the tourism sector, so represented, I suppose, by hotels, accommodation providers, tourism services and attractions. Fall to Ireland would sit on that. We provide, I suppose, a leadership and executive support function to the group. In addition, we would also work with the Chambers of Commerce, and that's kind of it. I suppose it's chaired, I should say, by Peter Wilson, the manager of White's Hotel currently, and Michael Griffin would have been the outgoing chair earlier on this year or late last year when he left. So the aim of the group really is about trying to put a collaborative brand together for Wexford. A couple of the big things they've done really is around creation of a Visit Wexford website, which is basically a shop window for the county, and trying to build that brand and keep Wexford fresh in people's mind. I suppose we have the traditional bucket and spade holiday when people think of Wexford and strawberry, so we're already active in people's mind, but we need to make sure that people know that they can do other stuff in Wexford, and we probably don't sell a lot of that stuff well enough, and as well that Wexford is an all-round holiday destination, and that's important. We have fantastic walks, we have great beaches, but we also have the likes of the 1798 Centre, we have Hook Lighthouse and the Hook Peninsula in general, and the fabric of the county is actually great to holiday in. There's lots of opportunity, and there's lots of free activities as well to engage in the likes of our playgrounds, and our coffee shops, and our food is really excellent. So it's about trying to sell an all-round product and trying to sell that all year round.
Tell me about the support that County Wexford gets from Fall to Ireland.
County Wexford gets a huge amount of support from Fall to Ireland, like many of the other counties. Tara Carey will be our client services manager, and she sits on the Visit Wexford group, so she's very, very active in the county. Specifically, they would bring grant funding to a variety of projects. I'm not going to start naming them because I will definitely forget somebody. And they would also provide funding to festivals. And I think festivals are becoming a very important part of the tourism sector in the county here. And as I've mentioned, I suppose the JFK and John Barry, we hope next year to try and spread those out, and that we have a number of weekends. And really it's about, I suppose, that's about exploiting our Irish-America link.
Tourism, I suppose, as a term is quite a broad one, but there are individual market segments within tourism, for instance, sports and business tourism. What's Visit Wexford doing to focus on those?
I suppose at the moment, and it's driven a little bit by myself, I'm trying to get a handle on some of our niche markets in the county and where the opportunities are. So business tourism performed quite well this year. We had, and that's a very crude figure, I suppose, of about 5,500 people who came in. It's counting really the big conferences. It doesn't include the smaller conferences or smaller group bookings. But I suppose it doesn't take a genius to figure out that group bookings make sense, and that large conferences are good for business. And it's good because you get an extra spend in the town and location where the conference is taking place, and again it fills up those shoulder months, so the conference season would run from anything from maybe October to kind of through to kind of March, April time, so that's excellent in terms of bringing in numbers, and we'd hope to build on that more. We are doing a collaborative piece of work trying to again promote the county in terms of conference destinations. We've produced a very basic little flyer that hotels can use to sell the overall county, and we should say as well, hotels are working together. Once they become full, they will give business onto their neighbouring hotel as well. So that's a good thing.
How many businesses are involved in Visit Wexford today?
We would have a number of businesses that are very active, and I should say that the structure of Visit Wexford, there's a county group, and there's about 12 people that sit on that group, but then we also have a number of regional groups. So Gorey and Escorthy and Ross and Wexford would have their own kind of town based areas, and they feed into the county group. So by the time you add in those people, and then by extension that there are a huge amount of people that are active in the group, and then in terms of the website, then we would have a huge range of the service providers listed. I don't think we have everybody, but I think we would have upward of the 70% region, and we're probably missing about maybe 30%. Some of those would be new ventures as well, and some of them maybe are quite small, are doing something very niche, and they probably just not using Visit Wexford as yet. So
if a tourism related business out there across County Wexford wanted to get involved, what do they need to do?
I think the easiest way for a small business, everyone knows time is precious, and if you're running your own business, you are out the door. I think people should take the opportunity that Visit Wexford creates to use the site to advertise their wares. We've generated in around 40,000 hits between March and June, and that's not a massive number of hits. We'd hope to maybe double, possibly even triple that. But if you're a very small business in a niche area, 40,000 is a good number of people to have looking or potentially looking at your service. And the services have said they are getting referrals through from Visit Wexford, so it's an important. Visit Wexford have also created a number of brochures as well. You should have those in your service, and it talks about the festivals calendar that we have, and it gives an overall outline of our top tourism attractions. So they're available through County Hall here.
Caroline, we know from TripAdvisor that across County Wexford, customer service levels are very much varied. Now, what supports are available out there today, for instance, for tourism-related businesses especially, to engage with, let's say, a mystery shopper, or training in respect of increasing and improving their overall customer service?
I suppose firstly to say customer service is essential. If Visit Wexford and other groups are spending a huge amount of money on marketing and getting people into the county, what's much more important then is that people, when they come here, have a good time and have an experience of positive customer service, and that they go back and tell people about their experience. But I suppose in terms of supports, a mystery shopper would be a great way to kind of find out how your receptionist and or staff person is performing. Vault Ireland would have a number of training and support opportunities in that area, and if it's something that people in Wexford and the tourism sector in Wexford particularly feel they want to work on, that's something that I'd be very open to talking to them about.
You're listening to South East Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick in association with Wexford Insurances. Think Wexford Insurances for your business insurance.